Meet Donna Adelson from Coral Springs, Florida. I want to hear all about you, Donna. Let's go.
Well, I'm a domestic coordinator.
A domestic coordinator?
Yes. I'm responsible for the activities, classes, and lessons of my son Robert, who is 16, Charlie, who is 12, Wendi, who is 10, my husband Harvey, who's in the audience, and my dog Sam.
All right. And how old is Sam?
5.
5. Well, good. Give him our best. Nice to have you here. And this vowels worth nothing. Consonants are going to be worth. Can we get 800? We can. All right. So I'm writing on this. Again, person is a category. Stu, still your turn. Letter, please. L. Nope, no L. Donna.
M.
Yes, there are 2 M's. Let them come up. You have 5 seconds. Person. Alan. K. Yes, K.
Mustard maker.
Nope, still
Mustard
10.
maker.
Stu. H, please. Yes, there's 1 H. Time starts now. Person. Donna.
F.
Yes.
Mischief maker.
Yeah, that's...
Nice.
You are listening to the Roberta Glass True Crime Report, putting the true back in true crime. From New York City, Roberta Glass is now on the record.
Okay. As you can see, those watching on YouTube, hello, your latex spouse. Hello, Miss Marple. Hello, Nadia. I am not alone. I am with my special guest, Allison Galvani, who's going to give us an update on the cold case of the murder of her mother, Nancy Galvani. Some pretty encouraging news, or I find it encouraging. Allison, take it away. Welcome.
No, thank you. I received a phone call from Morris Maya, who is leading the prosecution, hopefully prosecution of my father finally after more than 40 years. He is waiting for the sign off from his DA Wagstaffe. Your emails have been, and Roberta's advocacy for justice have been incredibly powerful in galvanizing action of the last year, the renewed investigation of my father. And there are many people in the police department, well, the entire police department up to the top, who are passionate about this case now. Prosecutors Maya and Lucas King are also passionate. So we're hoping for the sign off from Stephen Wagstaffe. Apparently the final decision will be made in a few weeks. So if each message is a reminder that the case is not forgotten. And Mr. Maya actually encouraged me to, he said how helpful the emails were in allocation of resources and, advocacy for my mother. So he encouraged even more emails. So anyone who is willing, I am so grateful. There's plenty of, oh yes, thank you. That's the email from Mr. Wagstaffe. There's overwhelming evidence. All the authorities I've spoken to believe that to be the case. And I'm just really hopeful and thankful to all of you showing solidarity in this quest for justice.
So if you have written an email, send another one. I did today. You can just say, I'm writing again to express my wish or urge you to prosecute the murderer of Nancy Galvani. This has been a cold case for too long. I put you can just copy and paste it in the description of this episode. You can find kind of just a, what do you call it? Form letter? I don't know. A template. And you can just copy it, paste it, sign your name to it, and send it off. I also put Wagstaff's email. It's swagstaff@smcgov.org. So if you actually misplace it, it's on the internet. Look up DA Wagstaffe if you forget. But this is the time. We've made great progress in moving this forward. This has really been a cold case too long. Allison and her family and everyone who loved Nancy Galvani deserve justice. And I think it's time for us to use our voices in a positive way and get this done.
Yeah, thank you so much, Roberta. This would mean a lot even to my children. They feel the absence of my grandmother that they never met. In fact, well, Roberta, you can tell me this is too much of a tangent. It is on the Adelson case, but I wrote, and she actually, I had correspondence with Georgia Kappelman, who, I think is a hero. Well, I could read it to you, but basically after the verdict, she made a comment. Should I read you what I wrote to her?
Sure.
Yeah, she said she replied, this was very powerful to her. So I said, "Dear Ms. Kappelman, I want to congratulate you on your recent conviction of Donna Adelson. Your steadfast commitment to justice has been remarkable to watch. And I know how much your work means not only to the legal system, but to everyone who has been following this case closely." You said afterwards, this was in the press conference that really struck me, and this is what I wanted to convey to her. You said afterwards that you hadn't done Benjamin Lincoln any favors. I believe you had. By ensuring accountability for their father's murder, you've given them something invaluable, the truth affirmed in a court of law, and the knowledge that people were willing to fight for their father's memory, that he could no longer fight for himself. That matters deeply, even if it may take time for them to fully realize. I write to you also from a place of personal experience. When I was 5 years old, my mother was murdered, and the overwhelming evidence shows that it was my father who killed her. Yet more than 4 decades later, he has never been brought to justice. I was raised by him, as the boys are being raised by Wendi. I was raised by him, and that experience has been a lifelong source of anguish. Living under the control of a person who took my mother's life and enduring the silence and denial that surrounded it. I'm still waiting for the day when my mother's case will be brought before a jury. Seeing the outcome you achieved in the Markel case gives me hope that justice, even when long delayed, is possible. You have given Benjamin Lincoln a gift, whether they see it now or not, and in doing so, you've given strength to people like me who continue to fight for justice for our own loved ones with gratitude and admiration.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, and she replied, yeah.
What did she say?
She said she thanked me and said it was really powerful, moving. Because I hope that Benjamin and Lincoln aren't in a situation where they're still advocating for full justice for their father. In other words, Wendi, it's very comparable. Like the boys are being raised by a person who's culpable in the other parent's murder. And it made me feel even sad that she thought that it sounded like she thought she'd, achieved something monumental for justice, but hadn't, as she's like her own words were, that she's aware she hasn't done any favors today for Benjamin Lincoln. But it is, I really want her to know that, almost out of everyone, I feel like she's doing this most for Benjamin Lincoln. Perhaps that's just because I'm in, the analogous situation, but it will mean a lot to them, I'm sure, once the denial lifts.
Right. And, you can't even imagine. I'm sure Georgia Cappleman and Tallahassee have been villainized, don't you think, in that family?
Yes, in the Adelson family. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I think the boys, as I was, are living, with gaslighting. But I think the denial eventually will lift for them. And it will be a source of peace that that their father received full justice. And some people talk about, I even heard multiple people talking about, like, for the sake of the boys, or take away their other parent. That argument was made in my case, but it's not another loving parent. Any parent who is involved in the premeditated murder of one parent, a loving parent, is to put it mildly, not putting the interest of the child paramount. And being raised by someone like that is not healthy. It's a source of anguish that I lived with my father for so long, with him disparaging her memory. And I imagine things like that are happening for the Markel boys.
So, I mean, we watched the murder, the case of the murder of Dan Markel from afar, and we watched the Adelson family get indicted and convicted from afar, and we really have no control over whether Wendi is arrested or indicted. But this is a case where we really do have some say in whether the killer gets indicted and prosecuted. So I really encourage everyone to use their power, use their voice, write DA Wagstaffe. It's S for Stephen, Wagstaffe. So S Wagstaffe, all one word, SWAGSTAFFE at smcgov.org. I couldn't have messed that up more, but it's in the description of this episode, and also a template emails, and you don't have to follow that. You can write your own, or you can just copy and paste and send it off. You could do it while you're watching this episode. I just have one question for you, Allison. What did you feel when you heard Jeffrey Lacasse say that Wendi had asked him about the children? When do children get memories? So obviously she was making sure that her children wouldn't have any memory of their father's murder. What were your thoughts on that?
Right. Well, so the oldest boy was just a few days away from his 5th birthday. I was 5, closer to 6 when my mother was killed. I have very vivid memories. I think the trauma encapsulates it. And even if the boys don't have memories of their father, that itself is tragic. And the trauma, early childhood development, the trauma of something like that happening will affect them, even if they don't have explicit memories. Like, I think there have been repercussions in my life. I'm an anxious person. I do feel that I'm always concerned that, because my mother's death was so sudden. It's I have a lot of anxiety that the people that I love most will suddenly be gone. And that's not, I try to contain that, and I have a daughter in college, and I have to it's a struggle to handle that anxiety, but I try to not let it affect my parenting.
And also, I mean, it's a hole that you're grieving for the parent that you only had limited time with for the rest of your life. I mean, it's just a hole a wound that really just doesn't heal. You always miss the parent that was murdered. So just so odd that you would say, well, if they don't remember the actual shooting, that they somehow that they would be immune from this heinous act. Your latex spouse says, we'll be part of the rewatch crew. Thank you, your latex spouse, and all my wonderful moderators. I'll be part of the rewatch crew at work tonight. Have fun at work. Prayers for Charlie Kirk. Speaking of his children, will remember, will be permanently wounded by this too. His wife, Erica, and their 2 babies. Sad day for our country, certainly is. That free speech in this country, not going to matter what side of the political aisle you are on, it's a very sad day for our country that free speech now means possible death. It always has, but boy, does this bring it home, and it shouldn't mean that. Love and peace to you all. Certainly, very, very unsettling day, upsetting day, and I echo those sentiments. All right. Do you want to watch with me, or do you want to hang out, or do you have to go, Allison? I'm going to get into Wendi. I don't know if you want to hang around. I know I didn't really prepare that. You're welcome to come and go, or whatever.
I have some flexibility. It's up to you, Roberta.
Well, I just wanted to show the difference. So I wanted to talk about Wendi's red flags and how different her testimony was from last time we saw her. So we're just finishing up Wendi Adelson's testimony. So I wanted to start with, I don't know why it seems so obvious now, but her testimony at, hold on one second. Charlie Adelson's trial. This is just a little compilation here that Law and Crime put together. So I'm going to start with the questions about the TV, and we'll compare them to this time. Just look at the demeanor. So last time we saw a very defiant, peppy Wendi Adelson on the stand. A lot of confidence, very cocky as always. Not that she's ever been a good liar, but here, take a listen to how she answers this question about her conversation with Charlie around her broken TV. And then we'll look at her compared to her weary. The weird word weary rings in my head. Weary, nervous. She seems to know that she might be next. She might be up on the stand next as a defendant if she takes the stand, or sitting in the chair that her mother is sitting in. So she's watched first her brother get convicted, now her mother. She's the last woman standing. And she had to know that she's testifying with a limited immunity deal, but that doesn't save her from being prosecuted. It only stops them from investigating and prosecuting her for anything she says on the stand. Take a listen to how she answers the question about the TV.
Speak to him.
It would have been right after the repair guys were there, because that's when I called him to ask him whether I should get the TV repaired or buy a new TV. So It would have been morning.
How long did you talk to him?
I don't remember.
Does 18 minutes sound incorrect?
That sounds reasonable.
Okay. Did you talk to him about other things other than just the TV?
I really don't remember what else I talked to him about, but probably maybe I would have asked him about his work, or we would have caught up.
Did you happen to mention Dan Markel's plans to go to New York the next day?
I don't see why I would have.
Did you have WhatsApp on your phone at that time?
I don't know if in 2014 I had WhatsApp. Now we use it for all the parent chats at school. So everybody seems to have it, but I don't know if everybody had it back in 2014.
What is WhatsApp?
WhatsApp.
We didn't have any of this smiling, people-pleasing kind of testimony this time, right? So here's her.
Yeah, she's rattled now.
Yeah, here's her answering a very similar question in her mother's trial, her mother Donna Adelson's trial for the murder of Dan Markel. Take a look.
Did you talk to your brother Charlie on the morning of the murder?
I did.
And does an 18-minute conversation at 9:30 a.m. that day sound correct?
It does.
Do you remember the nature of that conversation?
I do. I didn't purchase the TV, so I didn't know how much the TV cost. And so I called him to find out if it made more sense to get the TV repaired or buy a new TV, because I didn't know what the delta was there.
Okay. Can you tell the jury one way or the other for sure whether you mentioned Dan Markel's travel plans to Charlie during that 18-minute phone call?
I can't say for sure.
Hold on, Allison. Just a aside. The delta? What is the delta?
I think she's talking about like the original investment, but she spent 18 minutes, over 18 minutes on the call with Charlie, asking how much did the TV cost originally. It doesn't take 18 minutes. 18 minutes is a fairly long conversation.
I mean, we can reenact this conversation right now. Hey, Allison, you know that TV you bought me? They're telling me that they can't repair it. What should I do now that I can't repair it? Did you spend a lot of money on it? I mean, what's the conversation? What can you ask? I mean, they already told her they can't repair it. So what are her options? Her
Yeah,
only
exactly.
option is
And they have.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to agree. I mean, would he say like, oh, it was, even if it's like, oh, it's $600 and just get a new one. They can certainly afford it.
What do I do now that I can't buy a new TV? Now that I can't repair it. I'm sorry.
Well, we have spent all of our money on this hit, so yeah, we might be a bit stretched. So maybe you have to go without the TV, but you're getting a hit this time instead of the TV.
Oh, thank you. Are they on their way? Are the TV repairmen hint on their way? Wink, wink. I don't know. I mean, it's so odd.
You better drive by and check that it's done this time.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so none of the smiling, laughing, people pleasing, peppy kind of. Her diction is always great. We'll say that on the positive side, but here, let's listen to a little bit more.
But I don't see why I would have brought it up.
Did you have WhatsApp on your phone at that time?
I did.
What is WhatsApp?
WhatsApp is it's a phone service. It's an app that I use when I talk to people who live in other countries. So it's become very popular. I think I had it at the time. I know I certainly have it now. But it's a device to send messages.
During the time frame that we're talking about, which is around the time of the murder, did you communicate with any of your family members through WhatsApp?
I don't remember using WhatsApp unless they were traveling internationally, because it's a way of making free calls or free texts when at that time, making long distance calls on a regular phone would have been very expensive.
Did you ever communicate with Catherine Magbanua through WhatsApp?
I don't remember ever texting her on any platform.
Okay.
Roberta, it came out in Donna's trial with her friend testifying that, because, Wendi there, I think is lying. She was using WhatsApp, but apparently you couldn't make phone calls at that time. It was 2015 on WhatsApp, which is something I didn't realize, but that came out. Kappelman used that to impeach the Annie Cunningham friend. Anyway, so Wendi just said the same thing about making phone calls.
Yeah, strangely, no one has the fascination I did. I thought their testimony was fascinating, Annie Cunningham and Ron Cutterson. They were just willing to lie for Donna so easily. And, it was clear. I mean, they were just like accomplices, sort of. Apparently, Donna had texted them and said, "I need you to come over. I can't tell you, talk about it on the phone, but I just need you to come over." And Annie Cunningham wrote back, "Just say the word, like anything you need." So if we need to say that we communicated regularly with you on WhatsApp, via phone, or Viber. And I thought she said that the reason she used Viber is because it was free, and it's not free internationally. It may be cheaper, but it's certainly not free by my investigation into it.
I'd never
But
even
it's
heard of
often
Viber.
No, it's often used in Asian countries. Like, it's very popular there. So were they planning to communicate? I don't know if they were ever really using Viber, but I wondered if it was something that they were planning on using in Vietnam to communicate with Annie and Ron, the accomplice couple. Dean
Interesting.
Walker, thanks so much. So back to, now I kind of want to, this is a very quick, you can kind of go back and forth, but it's a very quick, see a little bit more since
Oh,
it's
it's enlightening
obviously
to
the same,
compare. Yeah.
right? It's obviously the same set of questions.
App is kind of an app you would use for texting.
Do you know if your brother Charlie had it at that time?
I have no idea if he had it at that time.
Did you ever communicate with Charlie through WhatsApp?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know if I had it at that time, or if I had it later, I probably would have.
Just not sure.
Yeah,
I have no idea is such a lie, because you do have an idea. She had an idea. If she was texting him via WhatsApp, she would know he had it. You can't text to someone on WhatsApp if the other person doesn't have it. So there's a lie, in my opinion.
Did you have any contact of any kind with Catherine Magbanua on the day of Dan Markel's murder?
No.
Did you ever communicate with her through WhatsApp?
No, I never communicated with her at all.
All right, let's talk about,
This I don't believe either. What about you?
Yeah, I don't believe, because the hitmen, they turned off their phone, and they didn't, because they didn't want to, detect it around the murder, although the police were still able to connect the dots. But by the time they turned their phone on, like they, left Tallahassee, apparently they called Katie and told them, this was their very first communication outside of the two of them, that it had been done. And Katie apparently said, "I know." So I think that Wendi drove by and saw that it had been done and communicated that to Katie, Charlie, her co-conspirators. That's what I think happened.
That's a fair assumption. And this is something that we see where killers turn off their phone. Brian Koberger did it before the murder and then turn it on after. Amanda Knox and her boyfriend Raffaele Solecito turned off their phones together in unison before the murder of Meredith Kircher and turned them on again in unison afterwards. Yeah. They never did that before. They never did it again. And here we see it in this case too. So it's not uncommon for the smarter killer who doesn't want to be caught to do, but then you get caught because it's, you don't, maybe the smarter thing is to leave it on at home or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Communicated with her on the beach.
I saw her in person, but I'm saying I never texted with her, called her. I never communicated via a device other than in person.
Okay. What about when you were talking?
Look at all these hand movements. It's almost like sign language.
Yeah, I feel like between this trial, we're seeing hubris turning into fear. Then in the next trial, she's really rattled now.
Good.
Because, new things have come out that she probably wasn't aware that Georgia Kappelman had about, for instance, Wendi canceling her cable. It sounds like packing up her house, already the family already starting to use the Adelson name instead of the Markel name for the boys. There was a lot that came out that implicates Wendi, and I think Georgia Kaufman's been aware all along, and I think some of these questions are going to be informative for Wendi's trial.
I think so too. Dean Walker, thanks so much. I'm not sure if I thanked you or not. I was thinking it, not sure if I put it up and thanked you. Thank you so much, Dean. May have. If I thank you twice, that's just the way it's going to go today. Okay.
Your brother, did she ever get on the phone and speak to you?
I don't think so.
Okay. I want to talk about where you went when you left your residence on the day of the murder. You tried to turn on to Trescott, and then you ended up where?
I went, I was supposed to go to a party that night, a Stock the Bar party. So I went to a liquor store to pick up what they had asked for as the present for their party. So I went to the liquor store, I picked up the alcohol, I stopped, I think I got gas, and then I went to lunch to meet my friends.
And the liquor store purchase appears to have occurred at 12:49 based on the receipt. Do you have any reason to dispute that timing?
No, that sounds right.
Okay. And then from there to the restaurant?
Yes.
And where was the restaurant located?
Mosaic. I actually don't remember. I just remember I would go north on Thomasville Road.
All right.
And so it was.
And is the restaurant?
But she didn't pick up Bullet Bourbon. She picked, it said Bullet Bourbon or another spirit. So they asked for specifically Bullet Bourbon, but you could bring another kind of alcohol. Here's the party invite. Here's the bottom of it. And there's what she bought with the receipt. Perfectly preserved, of course. But she bought Bullet Rye whiskey instead. And someone left me a comment, and I don't remember this in the victim impact statements that I read at the end of pretty much every episode, that they remember someone writing that rye whiskey was Dan Markel's favorite drink. I don't remember that, but if I asked to see if anyone else remembers that, I can, of course, go through the victim impact statements and check. But do you remember that, Allison?
No, I don't remember that. I always thought that the Bullet Bourbon that was on the Stock the Bar. The meaningful part of all of that to me is the circuitous route she took. And they show that she also had the option of, I guess it was ABC Liquor was the name of the liquor store. She had an option much closer to the house she was now living at. But saying that she started to drive down Trescott Road, and then she hit the crime tape. She had to drive. That's not possible that she just saw it. She had to drive a long ways when you look at a map on Trescott Drive. And I think, especially because there was an attempt at a first hit that the two hitmen came down the month earlier. It didn't go through. So I think she was just impatient to know. And I think even Charlie used the description. She couldn't help herself. She had to see if it would really done. So that was just stupid.
It's so funny that you should mention that, because I have a short that I made just about that. So
Great.
Let's watch it. Hold on one second. I think, is this the longer one, or let me see. I want to play the shorter one. Yeah, this is the shorter one. Okay. That gets right to the heart of that.
If you said, but having Wendi show up at the crime scene, it means I had to have known about it, and that's why Wendi knew about it. That's why she was showing up. People don't just randomly show up at their ex's house for no apparent reason. I mean, did she drive that route? Yeah. Was she going to turn on that street? Yeah. Yeah, she did. What brought her to that place and time? Like,
Crazy. I mean, it's crazy. It's what you said to me the other day. It's like a movie crazy. Like, wait a minute. These things can happen. These are coincidences. It's just a crazy coincidence, but it happens.
but what brought her to that place and time at that time on that day? Not an hour before, an hour after.
Yeah.
Like, it would have had to be, like, not 5 hours later. You know, if you said, what is But Jesus Christ, I mean, it's not like she showed up 6 hours later. It's not like she showed up an hour before, an hour after she shows up. Because, as Kappelman said, she couldn't help herself.
Yeah, she couldn't.
That, you know, when they say the most obvious answer, the simplest answer, is the real answer? It's not. I mean, what's the most obvious answer for Wendi leaving her alibi and then showing up there? What's the only answer you could have? And as soon as she leaves her house, she doesn't show up on the street.
It's just so stupid. It's ridiculous. It's so stupid.
But here's the thing. What's the most obvious answer?
I just wanted to see if it was done. Couldn't help it.
She wanted to see if it was done, and she couldn't help herself.
Yep, Charlie.
And then
Charlie and Donna, they explain it. I think they're frustrated with her for doing that. It wasn't part of the plan, but isn't it stereotypical to return to the crime scene? And yeah, I think she couldn't wait until she had to find out herself. Yeah, just exactly what they said.
Yeah, and then he calls it her alibi. What made her leave her alibi? Well, thank you, Charlie Adelson, for letting us know that the TV repair was her alibi. I mean, you don't have an alibi. An innocent person doesn't have an alibi. They have a thing they were doing that day. They don't leave their alibi. What made her leave the thing she was doing? What they're saying is, how could Wendi be so stupid to abandon our plan, leave her alibi?
We gave her the alibi, and
right.
Yeah, that's that. I hadn't noticed them using the word alibi. That's interesting. Yes, because I think the TV repairman did come earlier than they were expecting or hoping. You know, they came at the beginning of the window, and so, but yeah, she was supposed to. They'd set that up as her alibi, and Charlie's frustrated she didn't stick to the plan. Instead, she drove by the crime scene.
And what a stupid. I'm using Donna's favorite word, stupid. It was stupid. But the stupid question to ask Wendi, well, they could have come earlier, they could have come later. But okay, so if they came later, right, after Dan Markel was murdered, then she would have been waiting for the TV repairman while he was murdered. Or if they came earlier, the TV repairman had just come and she wouldn't have had time to drive by his house and murder him. It still would have worked as an alibi, no?
Yeah, absolutely.
What was she going to do? Grab her stuff after I got my TV repaired? I ran and shot him and then ran home or whatever. And then she made that lunch date that last minute lunch date just to have an extra alibi.
Tennis Girl makes an excellent point.
Really
she also told Isom she was in a hurry to get to her lunch, such a hurry that she didn't have time to shower, yet she has time to go several miles out of the way.
Yeah, that's always a great one. Yeah. I haven't heard that one in a long time. Yep. Okay, so back to Wendi's testimony. We're comparing and contrasting her testimony in Charlie Adelson's trial with her testimony in her mother, Donna Adelson's trial.
where law enforcement came to speak with you and you ended up going with them to the police station, right?
That's correct.
Right. Do you agree or disagree that there have been some financial benefits to you and your boys as a result of Dan's death?
I disagree.
When did you decide to change the names of your children from Markel to Adelson?
So after Danny's murder, there was a lot of news. It just hit the media and there were news stories everywhere. And Nancy Grace on CNN put pictures of my boys with their faces unblurred, just pictures of them. Mm-hmm. And I was terrified. And so when they started school, I started school with my last name, thinking that would keep them safe, that they wouldn't be associated with the murder.
Wasn't the Adelson name in the press?
It was not in the press.
Markel?
Not yet.
Do you agree that you legally changed the kids' names on July 6th of 2015?
That sounds right.
So it was actually a year after the homicide.
A year after.
When was the last time you talked to your...
Yeah, we learned really more in this trial about how quickly that happened. That name change happened, no?
Before he was killed, they were using it on invitations for the boys. I mean, informally, but still, I think that implicates, the premeditation. She wrote a passage in her book, her largely autobiographical, but technically fictional book, where she also changed the baby's name when she was divorcing the husband. So that was her plan. And again, she's just impatient. It's like she has to drive by the crime scene, impatient to change the boys' names.
Great point. You still there?
Oh, I'm here.
Yeah, it's a great point. She's impatient. It reminds me of Mia Farrow after her break from Woody Allen, changed all the kids' first names. Oh, I mean, that's to me. And my family friend, Dory Previn, said, who was married to Mia Farrow's husband before Mia Farrow.
Oh, wow.
Andre Previn took, brilliant woman. There's a great new documentary about her. I don't know that I just saw. I don't know when it's going to be officially broadly released. But she said now the children have nothing, not even their names, she meant when she said that. I mean, it's such a deep thing to change the kids' names for the children's identity and own sense of self. But for Wendi, it's what she wants is paramount. It's so clear. And the children's needs come way last to whatever she wants.
Yeah, well said.
Existed at that time.
Okay.
Sorry, I just jumped the gun and I forgot to share the screen before I started. Let's go back.
Vanna through WhatsApp.
I don't remember ever texting her on any platform.
Okay. Did you have any other encrypted platforms on your phone at that time?
At that time, I don't think so. I don't know what existed at that time.
Okay. So after you turned around and did not proceed down Trescott, you went, I think, to the liquor store. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. I was invited to a Stock the Bar party for that night for a friend's daughter. And so they asked for a specific type of bourbon. I'm not a bourbon drinker. So I went to the liquor store and I showed them the invitation, which was shaped like the kind of bourbon they wanted us to buy and asked if they had that. And they did, and I bought it.
All right. And that type of bourbon was bullet bourbon?
That's right.
And do you recall
That it was she. Look how nervous she gets when she's talking about her drive by the crime scene. Did you see that? And then she looks at her mother briefly. Did you see that, Allison?
She's rattled in this trial, unlike the others. She was cocky than the others, but
let's take another look at that just for a hot minute. For those that just tuning in, we're watching Wendi's testimony in her mother Donna's trial and comparing it just a little bit to a little section in her brother's trial.
what is WhatsApp?
WhatsApp is it's a
Oh wait, I'm way too far. Sorry, I didn't mean to go that far back. I'm sorry.
Down Trescott. You went, I think, to the liquor store. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. I was in.
Yeah, it's when she's being asked the question. She looks at her mother. It looks like her to the right. And she may be looking at her lawyer. John Lauro is sitting behind her mother.
Oh, that's interesting because, yeah, I spoke to someone who was in the courtroom on that day, and they said that she wouldn't look at her mother, which may be why Georgia Kappelman then asked her eventually to identify her mother. And that was the only time she looked at her mother. So I think it may be that she's, looking at Laura or someone else because, that was, it's hard to get that perspective when the camera's just on one person, but that's what was reported from someone in the courtroom. Of course, you had Patty reporting all these kinds of details as well on your channel.
Sure did. Thank you, Patty, for that. That was a real treat.
Invited to stalk the bar party for that night for a friend's daughter. And so they asked for a specific type of bourbon. I'm not a bourbon drinker, so I went to the liquor store and I showed them the invitation, which was shaped like the kind of bourbon they wanted us to buy and asked if they had that. And they did, and I bought it.
All right. And that type of bourbon was bullet bourbon?
That's right.
And do you recall the time of that purchase?
I don't, but I see a receipt here at 12:49.
Okay. And does that fit with your memory? You left the house around, I think you said afternoon, proceeded to the scene, encountered the tape, and then went to the liquor store, right?
I proceeded to drive to the liquor store. I saw tape and turned around. Mm-hmm. And then I bought the bourbon that they asked for at 12:49. And then I may have gotten gas after that. And then I drove to lunch.
And lunch was where law enforcement came in and encountered you?
That's right.
Okay. And that was where you were having lunch with a couple friends?
That's right.
Did you relocate to South?
Boy, you get the feeling like, oh, now I'm safe. Now I'm to the part where I'm not implicating myself in this murder. The part where I'm with my friends at lunch. You can feel the anxiety kind of come off of her by the end of the story there. Hi. Any comments, Allison?
Yeah, I think that her driving by the crime scene may well be the needle in the haystack that leads to her conviction. Because otherwise, I think she was pretty careful and not putting as much communication like in electronic form with her mother and that sort of thing. Of course, we don't know everything that Georgia has. Like additional things came out with Rob that Wendi had sent a photo of Jeffrey Lacoste saying, "Oh, this is my new secret boyfriend," just before the murder. That he was not secret because her parents had already met him multiple times. So that was like a clever well, it's kind of like as this British saying, too clever by half. That was like a subtle manipulation, but it may backfire on her because it wasn't even true. But she wanted Rob, her brother, to suggest Jeffrey Lacoste to the police, which he did. He fell for it. But now it looks, with the whole picture, and now it implicates her. So it's counterproductive for her purposes.
And then we also have the new testimony of Sarah Youssef, who came forward after Charlie Adelson's trial after she heard Phil Markel's victim impact statement. Sarah Youssef was also a lawyer, was friends with Wendi, and then for whatever reason stopped talking to Wendi. She worked under DA, the Weather Underground's son, Chesa Boudin, Kathy Boudin's son, and very much a kind of what you'd call, that he'd call himself a restorative justice prosecutor, but I would call a pro-criminal prosecutor, very much involved in that movement in freeing convicted murderers from prison. And Wendi Adelson was telling Sarah Youssef, according to Sarah Youssef, after Dan Markel's murder, that she was going to spend the rest of her life in prison. You heard that?
No, that's amazing.
And according to Sarah Youssef, she said, well, I was involved in, probably trying to get a guilty guy out of prison, in my view, at the time. And I mean, the way I see it is that she was so involved in her work seeing murderers as victims that she wasn't going to turn Wendi in. But when she saw she kind of she matured and grew out of that and saw that really there's a deeper, wider view of our justice system, and that their real victims are the Markel family. She had a different take on. She thought that Wendi was saying it because she thought she was going to be wrongfully convicted of murder. Well, if you didn't do it, you wouldn't worry about that. It's the last thing on your mind. I don't worry about crimes being convicted about crimes I didn't commit. And are so certain about it too. She's saying with total certainty that she's going to spend the rest of her life in prison. So it gives a little bit of depth into this testimony at her mother's trial. Let's take a look at what was going on let's listen to a little bit more of it, some of the key points.
Florida after Mr. Markel's death.
In terms of relocation, I did leave Tallahassee after the funeral, but I took a weekender for both the boys and me and thought I would be back pretty quickly.
Did you come back?
I did come back a few times, but
just to get things though, right?
Not really to get things. I came back a couple of times to give a talk or to do some work, but
okay.
What
I'm interested in is, where were you living after the murder?
I wasn't living in Tallahassee.
All right. Did you recall on the trip to South Florida, just within 48 hours of the shooting, getting a call from Craig Isom?
Yes.
Okay. And what happened with that call?
I talked to him for a while. He mentioned that he might want to have DNA samples of the kids. We were already halfway down. We'd been in the car for about 4 hours with the boys.
Who's
and
the we in that sentence?
I was with my parents.
Okay.
And the kids.
Yep.
We talked, the call broke up, and he never followed up.
Was it like you're breaking up?
I told him I was having a hard time hearing.
But were you faking that, or was it really breaking up?
I was not faking that.
And did you send your lawyer
I thought that was so interesting because I've always thought she faked it. I don't know about you.
I think she faked it, especially. Yeah, that was interesting that Georgia even asked her. Another thing that Wendi had completely moved to the extent that she said, she didn't even have stuff to come back to. which suggests to me there was planning and packing, because it's hard to move, especially like two little kids. But she, and with her parents, she had already moved all her stuff. So when she came back, it was only to give a talk, which I think is kind of like one of her humble brags.
I know, right? It's so perfect. Only to support my book. It's called "This Is Our Story," and you can buy it on Amazon for blah 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 blah. It has a great picture of my eye on the cover. Rosemary Romero says, "Thank you, Roberta, for all you do and supporting Allison in her cause to help her seek #justice for Nancy." You're welcome, Rosemary. Thank you.
Rosemary has been an extraordinary warrior, along with you, Roberta, and several others. In fact, Rosemary succeeded in getting Wagstaffe on the phone. Wasn't it today? I haven't even heard she texted me though, but she kept calling until eventually Wagstaffe spoke with her. So that was, and she felt positive about the conversation. She texted me.
Yeah, we're making real headway. So get those emails out. I really think, and when they finally decide to go forward with the prosecution, we have to do something special on this channel for everybody who's helped. Don't you think, Allison?
Oh, that would be amazing. I can't think of what would be sufficient to show my gratitude.
We'll do something fun on this channel. I'm very positive. I really think it's going in a positive direction. I don't know if I'm blindly optimistic, but I feel good about it. All right, back to Wendi and not feeling so good. I mean, this is just like a totally different person we saw in the witness box, and I think the jury could not help but notice her demeanor. I mean, she doesn't come off as truthful. She comes off as so mannered and odd on the stand. She's not a good witness at all. She's a mannered, lying, someone that you suspect is lying kind of witness. How would you describe her on the stand, Allison?
I think that she is a skilled manipulator, and she vacillates between almost being brainless and therefore uninvolved, even claiming in a previous hearing or trial, she didn't know, she's a lawyer, but she didn't know what contempt meant or dismissal with prejudice. And but I think out of the three Adelsons we've seen testify, although Donna didn't take the stand, she testified in hearings, Wendi is the most skilled actress. And in fact, that was underscored by an email that her mom sent her, encouraging her to act, and that Donna telling Wendi, oh, you can be a good actress when you need to be. So, yeah, she acts like someone's saying here. Sherry's saying, kind of stupid on purpose. Yeah, like how could she be involved? She doesn't have the wherewithal to be involved.
Right, she's got that mouth open, the eyes real wide, almost like hypnotizing you a little bit, with her eyes wide open, her mouth open, her head to the side, almost.
Oh, she reminds me of Elizabeth Holmes. You know, Elizabeth Holmes had very intense. Who's now who had set up the company in California
with the
false
finger
blood.
prick.
Yeah, exactly.
What was it? Theranos? What was it?
Oh, Theranos. That's right. Yeah, that's the name of the company. And now she's in federal prison for fraud.
Yeah,
but she had that same
intense look, and mannered, all put on. Her voice is put on. She has a really high voice, Elizabeth, and then she would put on this low authoritative voice. She thought it gave her power. She's a scary person. So is Wendi. They're both probably psychopaths.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, definitely. If she's able to kill a loving father, even someone she admits was a loving father, to do that to her own children, it's almost incomprehensible. Except that it also happened to me. But yeah, it's completely selfish, lacking empathy, and I do think that, it's interesting. Jeffrey Lacoste said she's able to cast spells. He said he was under her spell. I think she does have the ability to. I mean, it's hard to feel that watching her, knowing all the evidence. I don't feel like she's cast a spell over me, for instance, but in her real life, apparently, especially with men, I don't know that she's capable of casting spells over them.
Yeah, that's a great point. A lot of these murderers have that kind of charisma. We were just talking about Jeffrey McDonald today. I mean, he was able to con the psychiatrist that evaluated him. Many women, all these killers have supporters, sometimes supporters in high places. Wendi, I would say, is the most universally hated, but in her personal life, she has garnered supporters who are still loyal to her.
Your mom.
This is some from Charlie's trial where it's going to get heated.
Did you talk to her today, yesterday?
I talked to her yesterday.
In her emails, and we referenced one of them while you've been here on the stand, she talks about you giving performances and playing roles. Did you discuss anything about what you would do here today in court with your mother?
No.
Were you involved in any way in the plot to kill your ex-husband?
Absolutely not.
Did you know it was going to happen, but maybe not know the details?
I knew nothing.
Is that why you went to the crime scene on the day of the homicide?
I did not go to the crime scene on the day of the homicide.
Do you know who all was involved in the murder?
Well, I learned today, but at the time, no.
Okay. Have you ever privately confronted your brother about his role or possible role in the murder?
My attorney has advised me not to have conversations with anyone in my family about the case.
But you had a close relationship with your brother at the time of the murder, right?
I absolutely had a close relationship with my brother.
And how soon after the murder did your lawyer advise you not to talk to your family about it?
In 2016.
Okay, so what about the 2 years in between? Did you talk to him about it then?
I mean, I talked to him about the fact that a murder occurred, but I guess I don't understand the question.
But you never talked to him about the suspicions you raised in the law enforcement interview that your brother might have done it?
No, I did not.
You suspected your brother could have been a part of this, right?
I suspected lots of people could have been a part of it.
But he was one of the people, right?
While I was talking with law enforcement for 6 hours, terrified out of my mind, I offered them every possible idea I could come up with.
Right. And one of the possible ideas was that your brother could have murdered your child's father.
I didn't really believe that was possible.
Was part of the plot for you to be able to have plausible deniability about this?
Absolutely not.
Is it better for both you and your brother if you don't know the details of this?
I don't even understand the question that you're asking me.
When did you first become aware that you might be a suspect in this case?
I mean, as the ex-wife, I assumed I was a suspect from the beginning.
What was your first thought when you were asked if anyone might have murdered Dan Markel for your benefit?
I thought, oh my God, maybe if I hadn't divorced him, he would still be alive. Maybe this is my fault because I complained to the wrong person. Maybe Danny gave a student a bad grade and they came after him. I just was trying to think of who possibly could have wanted to hurt him.
But you didn't say any of that before. I mean, the first thing you said was Charlie, right?
I don't think so.
Page 25 of your interview, line 5 through 15. Do you have any reason to dispute? Page 25, not 5 hours into it. You say Charlie might have done it, right?
Can I see, please?
You may. This is going to be tab 1.
Why do you think she stops so often and demands that she see the actual evidence? I mean, she knows it's there. Georgia's not going to lie about it.
It does seem like it prolongs. Yeah, it seems like it prolongs the issue. Maybe she's used to that kind of denial in her regular life and she's having trouble controlling it. I don't know. I'm just speculating. But if anything, it draws more attention.
She gets some time to think about what her next lie is going to be here. That's what I would think. And also, it's obviously a technique because in Karen Reed's trial, they were illegally giving their expert witnesses tips in between. So the testimony was, held over for the next day. And in between, they gave their tips to always ask for the evidence and look at it. And so obviously it's a technique to delay, give you some more time to think about it and come up with your next lie, obviously. I mean, that's what I think.
That makes sense.
25.
What I say here is that he would never do it. Right under the highlighted part, I say, no, he would never.
Can you get a copy? No. Page 25, line 5 through 15. I mean, my brother, the one, his name is Charlie, the one I'm really close to. He makes a lot of jokes in that taste, and it was a joke he made. He bought the TV for me this morning that got broken, and then I was talking to him about whether it made sense to pay or fix it, or whether I should get a new one. And it was always his joke that he knew that Danny always treated me badly. And it was always his joke. He said, I looked into hiring a hitman and it was cheaper to get you this TV. So instead I got you this TV. And you do say you don't think he would do it, but can we agree you brought up his name on page 25 of the interview?
I did.
When asked, would you ever ask someone to do something like this? You say not in a million years. When asked, okay, do you think someone would do this for your benefit without asking you? You say no. And when Isom starts to ask you, what good does it serve? You say, I mean, my brother, the one, his name is Charlie. Isn't that how it went?
This is the transcript, but I think there's also inaccuracies in the transcription.
Oh boy. All right. Do you want the culpable parties held accountable for murdering the father of your children?
Absolutely. I'm grateful they're already in jail.
But not if it's your family.
It's not my family.
I mean, somebody hired them, right?
Not necessarily.
Somebody paid him.
I learned something this morning.
Yeah, me too. You didn't want him held accountable if it was your family members. Didn't you tell law enforcement that?
That's not what I told law enforcement.
What did you tell law enforcement?
I told them that the person who did this should be held responsible and that I had nothing to do with it.
Page 122, lines 7 through 12. If somebody tried to kill my ex-husband, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The investigator says, regardless of who it is, and your answer is, I mean, it would be different if I thought it were my brother.
But I don't think it was my family, is what I said.
Different now, isn't it?
No, it's not different. That's exactly
different
what I
today,
said
isn't
right
it?
here. No, that's not
No
right.
further questions.
I mean, it's just such an iconic, direct. It feels more like a cross, but it's a direct. Here she is talking about. Let me make sure I'm in the right area. Yeah, here she is talking about these same. It gets more in depth. It's much more in depth this time. It's a much longer direct.
Okay, in the car, they told you what?
They said your ex-husband has been shot.
Okay. So that you learned that information prior to getting into the interview room?
What do you think about that, Allison? This is the first time we've heard that, because when she's told,
yes.
she breaks down.
Yeah, she claims that we see it in the interview room that she has that message from a friend, but now she changed her story that they told her when they asked her to come with them. So yeah, there's an inconsistency right there.
Right. So, I mean, either you would, I mean, would you have such a big reaction second time around? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't believe her reaction. If it was the first time at the police station, she pretends to cry, but then she can talk in full voice. So
yeah, Donna and Wendi are both dry criers. Yeah, even in, at first, in Donna's conviction, I thought that she was crying for herself, but watching it again, she's not even crying for herself. It's just pure anger.
let's watch that. Hold on. Let's watch Donna's. Just let me see if I can find it really quickly. If I can do it quickly, that would be great. We can just watch it. It was like 12. I was live for like 12 hours that day. It was so wild. Yeah, just a couple minutes short of 12 hours. Hold on.
Wow.
We were waiting around for it, and I thought it would come back pretty quickly. So we were watching other things while we were waiting. We were about to watch. Here we are. Here it is. Hear anything? Let me just make sure that the. Now. Selman shaking Georgia Kappelman's hand. So he just told everyone not to have a big reaction, and then Donna has a big reaction. It's so crazy.
She had to be admonished over and over again by Judge Everett.
Unreal.
And it's a tantrum.
But we never know. We could get a.
She's even stomping her feet.
Right. I mean, is she? I'd go. Great prosecutor.
Please bring in the jurors.
Yeah, when I was a juror, I made sure I looked at the defendant that we found guilty, because I didn't want to choreograph No one, apparently none of them looked at her. And Charlie, same thing. We're bringing in the jury right now.
Please remain seated when the jurors come in this particular time.
Phil Markel with a long close of his eyes there. I didn't notice that before.
Please rise. Has the jury reached a unanimous verdict? No. If you please can hand the verdict form to the bailiff. Having reviewed the verdict form, it is in its proper order. At this time, I will publish the verdict. We, the jury, find as follows as to count one of the indictment, first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Mrs. Adelson, control yourself.
Oh my God. Oh. I just want to see it again. She seems like she knows it's coming. It's almost like someone about to be, I don't know, firing squad or something. That's the image I get. What about you? It's like she knows it's coming.
Her entitlement continues to run through this verdict. I mean, Judge Everett has had many people in his courtroom receive a verdict stoically, and the level of composure between Donna Adelson and then Ruth and Phil in their impact statement is stark.
Great point. Great point. One more time. See, look, she looks like she knows it's coming. It's not like that. If you ask me, I wouldn't say that's a woman waiting for good news.
The jury find as follows as to count one of the indictment, first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Mrs. Adelson, control yourself.
And then it's like a toddler. You're right. They're all trying to control the toddler. Oh, I knew this was going to happen. Oh, Tallahassee's so stupid. What a stupid verdict. It's so stupid. That's what I hear her say. You know, like that's what's going on in her mind. She really thought she was going to get away with it.
It's delusional. They were delusional. Like, I think they were genuinely delusional. It's incomprehensible. But in Charlie's trial, because he's giving away his commissary, and they hadn't booked their plan to Vietnam until after the verdict, because they're so confident it's going to be found not guilty, which I just like, did they watch the same trial that we did? I guess, even though in a sense they're intelligent people, this narcissism, I think, is accompanied by, superiority. They think they can get away with it. So it is this kind of a sense of delusion. Yeah.
Well, Charlie's case, it wasn't quite a big a case as it is now. I remember watching it, and there were a good bunch of Charlie supporters saying he did great on the stand. I mean, I know the court TV chat is always very defendant friendly, always. No matter who it is, whether it's Robert Durst, there's always going to be someone hoping a murderer gets off. But people felt that, I think like Charlie and Donna, that if he had a story, that's all he needed. It didn't have to be, they forgot the reasonable part of doubt. If they could create doubt of any kind, not a reasonable doubt in the jury that he would get off. So he had, I think Donna had a big part in writing his defense. I think she's the author of this whole extortion story. And I think she gave it to Dan Rashbaum and had Charlie memorize it. He didn't memorize the script the way Dorina Bernhardt had to, but he put it in his own words and really knew the evidence. And they thought he was so well prepared, and she believed so much in Dan Rashbaum. When you watch the way he takes the verdict, you can see that he's really hopeful. That's someone who's hopeful that he's going to get a good verdict. You can see it. This, I think she knew what was coming. She hoped not. She was hopeful that maybe there would be something that it would go the other way, but she knew. I mean, this is just pure performance. Okay. Back to.
Yeah, I think that Charlie was excessively prepared. There was even a point where he refers to a page number and I think a huge binder of evidence, refers to the line and page number when being cross-examined by Georgia Kappelman. That's a mistake to show that he studied it that carefully. He just seemed overly prepared. It didn't seem genuine.
I always point to that where he says, "You want to know which part?" It was so cocky. I'll tell you which part.
Yeah, he's really cocky.
Knew the evidence backwards and forwards. If you're innocent and you lived through it, there's no need to know the evidence. You just say, "When I was here," or "When I was doing this," not evidence B, line 16. I mean, it's silly. Okay, here's more of Wendi.
Yes.
Do you remember allowing law enforcement to take possession of your computer in that interview?
I told law enforcement to search my phone, search my computer, search my house, search my car. I was trying to be helpful.
Do you remember saying that it was okay for them to take the computer and keep it even though you had work things on there because you didn't think you would be going back to work?
I remember thinking it wasn't important. I couldn't imagine. My life fell apart. So
but you didn't go back to work, did you, at FSU?
I did actually go back, not physically present, but I was still on the FSU payroll until December of that year.
Okay. In that interview with law enforcement, did you suggest that your parents are people who may have been angry enough to kill Dan Markel?
I suggest.
Before she answers that, is that the way it works in academia? So she was on contract. She wasn't teaching, but she still got paid till December.
I think that she didn't have a tenure track job. It sounds like she was on a contract on a grant. Like usually those run for a year, and even if somebody essentially stops working, I mean, it's hard to cancel the contract. So it sounds like she took advantage of that grant. I don't know if her money was, I think she referred to it coming from a grant, which is probably, I don't know if it's foundation grant or taxpayer grant, but she was then taking advantage of whoever was paying that, the taxpayer or the students paying their tuition. I think she just let the contract run its course, but wasn't even in town.
Wow. So she played the victim so well, like Jeffrey Lacasse says. I can't come into work. I'm in mourning. She took her mourning leave. It's a new kind of leave defined by Wendi Adelson. She was in mourning for the ex-husband she killed. Okay. Crazy.
A lot of people who could have been angry enough to kill Danny.
And were some of the people my parents?
Yes.
But you said in the interview that you didn't think they were capable of it, didn't you?
I did.
If your mom wasn't capable of it, did she have anyone that she could enlist to assist her?
I don't know.
What was your first thought when you were asked if anyone might have murdered Dan Markel for your benefit?
I thought maybe a crazed friend or a former student.
It's not what you said, though, is it?
I don't remember exactly what I said first.
You said Charlie, right?
If that's what I said, then you have it there, but I don't remember who I listed first.
Okay. Can you at least tell the jury you definitely did say Charlie as one of those people?
I did.
Do you remember saying, if somebody tried to kill my ex-husband, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law?
Yes.
And Isom says, regardless of who it is. And do you recall your answer?
I do recall my answer.
What was that?
I think I was hoping it wasn't anyone in my family. And so that idea that it was someone in my family gave me pause.
All right. But that wasn't your answer, was it?
I don't remember word for word, but
Okay.
She remembers word for word what she said, but she's giving the reason why she said it instead of the answer. And I feel like the woman behind Georgia Kappelman in the black listening to it. Not blessed.
Yeah.
With the glasses
Somebody
on her head.
writes, somebody writes, I'm sorry, I'm missing a lot of the chat, but Wendi flexes her vulnerability. She's very keen to deflect any guilt, and she seems empty inside, inauthentic and all surface. Yeah, I agree with that.
That's a great description. Perfect. Right on. And here she is. It looks like she's tearing up at this point. I think she's so just nervous for herself. Clearly not tears for her mother or her brother or Dan Markel. It's all for herself. She's so nervous in the courthouse. I'm sure she couldn't get out of there fast enough.
Sad, but that was my sentiment at the time.
Was your answer for court and counsel? This is law enforcement interview page 122, lines 7 through 12. If somebody tried to kill my ex-husband, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Question, regardless of who it is. Answer, I mean, it would be different if I thought it were my brother. Did you call your mom from the interview room at Tallahassee Police Department?
I did.
And did she answer the phone?
She did.
When she answered, did she advise you that your dad was in the shower?
I don't remember whether my dad was in the shower.
You asked her to sit down. Do you remember that?
I do.
And by asking her to sit down, would that signify to her that this was going to be something serious you were going to reveal or say?
I was concerned about her age and if she were standing that she could, hurt herself if she fell down.
Okay. And do you recall that she at that point asked if she could put you on speakerphone?
I don't remember, but that sounds plausible.
What was the purpose of putting the phone on speaker, if you know?
I would be guessing, but so my dad could hear too.
But wasn't dad in the shower, or you don't remember that part?
I don't remember if my dad was in the shower.
Was anyone else there to your knowledge?
I don't think so.
Was Charlie there to your knowledge?
I don't think so.
Did you ask your mom in that telephone conversation to tell Charlie what was going on?
I think I did. I didn't want to make any more phone calls.
And your mom took the news pretty well, didn't she, this phone call?
I wouldn't say she took the news well. I think she was upset.
Did you say something different in your law enforcement interview after you got off the phone with her?
I don't think I did. I don't think I said something like that.
Didn't you say, page 265, line 5 through 6, quote, my mom handled that pretty well?
I may have said that. I can check it. Can you tell me the line again?
Yes, ma'am. Page 265, line 5 and 6.
Yes, that's what I said.
And then page 280, line 22 and 23. Did you also say, well, my parents sounded really surprised, so that's at least a relief?
Yes, I see that here.
No further questions. Just one moment, Ron.
Okay, so that's a good place to leave it there. But you see the difference, certainly. I think it's a stark difference from Charlie Adelson's trial. No, the way
Yeah,
Georgia
I think she's
Cappleman left it.
rattled.
I mean,
Yeah, she was cocky
yeah,
previously. Now she's rattled.
she's rattled, and so Georgia Cappleman's not even going to push her. She's just rattled being there. There's no need to push her. I mean, the way she did at the end of Charlie Adelson's trial. There's just no need to do it. I'm going to end with a short victim impact letter. The way I usually do this is just a short one for today. This was written to the Honorable James C. Hankinson. Your Honor, Dan Markel was my friend and colleague, and I still can't figure out how to be whole without him. He was present and intuitive and loving and nudging. He found time for me and our relationship in the most creative manner and performed friendship in ways that always felt genuine and from the right place. Although I literally wrote a book about friendship, I have always been chastened to know that he knew more about it than I ever would or could. I've gone from intimidated by Dan when I first met him to wholly admiring him in short order, but I now have to remain in a permanent state of grieving. I feel cheated because our friendship is now stuck in time. There was so much growing to do together, and I miss his companionship so much. He is still teaching me and reaching from beyond the grave. I can reread him, think about what he would say about personal or professional challenges, conjure his goodwill. In these small ways, he lives on, and I take comfort that his vivacity in life left reverberations in death, but I am in mourning still. My life at work and at home is thinner, less vital, less analyzed, and less shared. I miss my friend, Ethan. And this is Ethan J. Lieb.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love how you end on victim impact statement every time, because it's important not to forget the victim and to honor the victims.
Thanks so much. Something I really get a lot out of reading those letters. I hope everybody does too. So before I go, just one more shout out to get your emails out to DA Wagstaffe and tell him to prosecute the murderer of Nancy Galvani, Allison Galvani's mother. The email is also in the description of this episode and a template. You can just copy and paste into an email, or you can write your own, even better. But let's keep on pushing, and we're making some headway, guys. We're having a real impact, so hopefully this will come to the outcome we want. But it won't without all of your help. So we do need your help in getting these emails out. It really does not take more than 15 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Does not have to be long. It just has to be understandable what the message is. Let's get this case prosecuted. It's been a cold case for decades, and it's really unacceptable. There's a lot of evidence against your dad. No.
Yeah, absolutely. Overwhelming evidence. In fact, the lead detective has even expressed it. Your mom's case is solved. We just need the prosecution to be approved.
So, yeah, and if we can get this done, there will be a big party on this channel. So,
well, thank you so much, Roberta.
Thank
And
you, Allison, for
your
hanging
community-
out with me. It was fun.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, you foster such a wonderful, supportive community. I'm so grateful to you and the community you foster.
Thanks so much. I think we have the best chat on YouTube, but obviously I'm very biased. All right, have a great night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow at 6. Thank you so much, Allison. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you again. Good night.
Oh, Donna, what a stitch you're in. You plotted a murder 'cause you wanted to raise your daughter's kid. Tallahassee is just a stop on the way to civilization. Miami is where all the fancy people are. The TV is about 5. You can't get away from that. Two-toe, tay-toe, hoo-ho, you know the guy you pay, and you can't get away from that. Oh, Donna, what a stitch you're in. You thought jail was just for the little people, but now you're so blankets with the locked up crew. You're a grandmother in lockdown, and your one-way ride to freedom you blew. What a stitch you're in. Your family are exiled from the social circles you swam in. We all know you never made that banana bread or offered to babysit for Dan, but you'll soon be making license plates and thinking about what could have been. Oh, Donna, you had to plan a murder